Recording.
There we go.
Welcome. Okay, it's recording. Okay, so welcome. Let's take before we even begin. Let's take a deep breath. Take a deep breath in. Deep breath out. So, Margie, thank you so much for being a part of Team Global Connections. I don't even know if that's the official name yet. I just named it that for now. Team Global Connection, and the goal is to connect with each and every one of you and see how you guys are doing during this time, this pandemic. It's probably the first time, well, it's the first time for me to see the world come together and be in quarantine. I know that in my lifetime we've had pandemics, but it hasn't been to the point where we have multiple countries in quarantine, like in government issued restrictions. So it's new. For me, it's new. So I'm sure you let me know if it's new for you. Maybe you had an epidemic in your area that was similar. I don't know. But I would like to know first your name, your age, and where you're calling me from.
Yes, of course. My name is Margi. I'm 16, turning 17 next month in quarantine. And I'm living in Hong Kong, so I'm calling from Hong Kong right now.
What time is it there?
It's about 10:20, so it's 12 hours different.
All right. 10:20.
Yeah, p.m.
p.m. Here it's 10:20 a.m. I'm from New York City, which is cool. So it's an exactly 12-hour difference.
Yeah.
That's cool. And how are you living in Hong Kong, first of all?
Yes, so I'm originally from California. I lived in San Francisco for about 9 years. Okay. And then I moved to Hong Kong. It was kind of a mix of things, like my parents' career, but also like my family's pretty adventurous in the way that we love to travel. And I think they kind of wanted to do something different. And I'm so grateful and happy to be here. And it's been like the best time ever being here. So I'm very happy about it.
Really? Oh, I have an adventurous spirit. Like I love traveling. So I always tell, like, one of my dreams is to take my family one day and live in some other country, Ireland, I don't know, whatever. Yeah. But just to go somewhere different. So kudos to your parents for being that. And that is definitely a blessing to be able to live like that, to have that kind of experience.
Yeah.
And I'm happy that it's been a positive change for you. Definitely, it's an important thing. So for the listeners, I'm sorry for the background noise. Just putting it out there. And so the best as you can. So Margie, tell me how it's been during. So we're going through COVID-19. Hopefully, somewhere in 10 years down the line, people are listening to what happened during this time. It's been scary. It's been confusing. I think that there's been a lot of confusion with people. It's been really sad. I know of people who've lost. I'm blessed that I haven't lost a family member. So for me, it is a blessing. However, I do know friends that have lost family members. I know that I have a coworker that passed away, and because of COVID-19, allegedly. And it's sad all around. So there's this heavy cloud of things that are happening. And for some people, it's what's going to happen in the future. Is it going to be to an end? So New York City, being one of the cities that's been mostly impacted, for us has been pretty tough. New Yorkers are all about the hustle and bustle, and we've been stay put. Okay? So how has been your experience in Hong Kong? When did you start quarantine? How long have you been in quarantine? How's it been? And how do you feel? Most of all, I want to know you, how you feel.
Yeah, well, I think it's really interesting coming from Hong Kong because we were one of the first places to start our quarantine kind of, but we basically when the first cases kind of arose in China, a lot of Hong Kong was like immediately shut down in a way where people just stayed home. There was a week, I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, it was like the first week of February, and or around the first few weeks of February, and we were actually in our Chinese New Year break. So we were already off school and we were at the end of the week, and all this news started coming out and no one kind of left their homes because it was all so much unknown, even though there were only like maybe 2 or 3 cases here. But it was just like, when someone says there's a virus, it's like, what does that mean? So there was like definitely high panic then, and everyone was very confused and kind of worried. And then I kind of got like the oh, you have 2 weeks cancel of school, and it's like, oh, 2 weeks, that's insane. And so
Yeah.
we had like 2 weeks off where it was kind of, we had school kind of in online Zoom, and it getting extended until we were like, when is this even gonna stop? Now I think we're 3 months into our Hong Kong like homeschooling. So it's been a whole like transformation, and it's like a whole new kind of routine that we've had to get into.
Wow, 3 months into online classes. Oof.
Yeah. I know, I mean, it's funny because like, well, it's not funny, but it's
I
just
get you.
interesting to see like the comparison between the US and Hong Kong, because we had kind of experienced it so much earlier on, and it was kind of unknown everywhere. And once it kind of hit the US, it became more of a topic of discussion, or it became like hitting the headliners more. So,
Sorry about that. Okay.
no worries.
Wow. And okay, so for it, how do you feel? I want to know, how do you feel? How was your personal like transition? How did you feel like from the beginning to now? How was your
Yeah, so at the start, I think it was because just to put it in some context, before like earlier in this year, I think it was around December, there were protests going on in Hong Kong. So we had kind of a state of uneasy, and I actually did have school off then too. So I already had experienced about a week or so of online school. But then it was like 1 week, that's nothing. It's like you miss like a few days of classes.
okay?
But I think the biggest impact for me is not being at school. I like feed a lot off of like being with other people and seeing my friends and talking to my teachers, and not having that is a big change. And so for me, that was the biggest impact. But I think like emotionally, the hardest part is when you're kind of like stuck at home. It almost drives you insane because you're like kind of run out of things to do, and it's just like a kind of hard to get in a routine, because when we're going to school, we have school and then we have our extracurricular activities, and then we go home and it's the separation between home and school. But when there's no separation between home and school, it's like, what's the difference?
I
So
know.
yeah, that's definitely a big problem.
And how do you connect with your friends? Is it just phone, text, social media?
Yeah, I mean, I was actually, so I'm taking world history right now, and a few weeks ago we were learning about the Spanish flu and how it took such an impact on their social life, but they didn't have any technology. So like, I was thinking about it. I talk to my friends every single day. Sorry, my dog wants to say hi.
Hi, say hi. Mira, mi perro.
Yeah, so this has also been a very great part. I'm so happy. He's definitely happy.
I definitely can tell, and I'm sure he is because my mom has a dog, and he gets so sad when she leaves, even for like 5 minutes. It's so
Exactly.
funny.
Yeah,
Ah,
but I think connecting with my friends through social media, through calling, we even set up like, because that lunchtime is always so much fun that we set up a time during lunch where we could call. So that's definitely been a big help.
Wow. Well, for it's been I can see the impact of with school with my son. He's 16 also, and it's only been a month for us. Like it's a month. A month and 16 today's a month and a week. And it feels like 10 years, honestly. And they've officially declared that they won't continue school. I mean, they won't go back to physical school. They're going to stay in online school until it finishes, which is in June. And then later on, they'll talk about what's going to happen in September. But for now, it's online school and it's a big adjustment. My son goes to Catholic school, so they do have a much more strict structure. So he does have to get up and get in a video conference from 8 a.m. to noon. He has a lunchtime, and then, like, if he was school, but online. My daughter is the same thing. However, I have other youth that I speak to and connect to that they just get homework, sort of kind of like homework and videos to watch, but they can watch it based. They have a deadline, maybe 11 p.m. or 11:59 p.m. the same day, but it's not structured. So they could do it at 3, they could do it at 5, they could do it at 10 p.m. if they want to. So it's not structured, and I think that's a little harder in the sense that the team doesn't get into a routine. They pretty much are on their own. So what do you hope to see? What do you one what before that? What is your biggest fear during this time?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously scary because, like you said, I've never really lived in something like this before. And every time there's something like this, it's really, you don't know what the outcome's going to be. So I think the biggest thing for me is like, when does it stop? That's the fear that I kind of like resonate most with. But I mean, thankfully, actually, today in Hong Kong was the first day that we had 0 cases, cases, or second day in a row, or something like that. So great news, but I'm like looking at my family and all my friends in the US, and I'm like, the numbers keep going up, and that's just like, I hate to look at it, but it's like, that's definitely the biggest fear for me, is like, there's no visible end line for this.
Yes. Oh my God. We do see the increase the increase here, and it does become a little scary, right? Because for us, it's like, okay, so we were supposed to be getting out of quarantine on the 29th of April. So now they've extended it to May 15, and now they're talking about extending it more. So we don't know how long this is gonna last. And I think New York, especially, I wish people were a little bit more responsible, and that would alleviate a lot of what's going on. And so let's see where that heads us. And so, what would you like to see? So now that was your fear. What would you like to see happen from now on? Like, what would you, if you had an ideal scenario, what would it be? And give and a timeline.
Yeah, I think it has a lot to do with, I mean, community, but like obviously staying away, because I think there's a lot of issues with like, I mean, of course, it stunts the economy in ways, but I think there's a bigger problem at hand when you're losing people that are very like crucial to your lives, and I think that's a big issue right now. And so what I would like to see happen is those people who are maybe struggling with the like staying at home, and I think I really wish that everyone could just cooperate and do that, because I think in the long run it benefits everyone. It'll quickly slow down the numbers if everyone just stays at home for a bit and takes a quick pause, because same with Hong Kong, it's such a fast-paced living, so when that stops, people kind of freak out and they're like, I have to go back to work, I have to go do my errands, I have to get a haircut, and it's like, if everyone could just take a breath and wait, I think that would be the biggest thing that I would hope for, that everyone would kind of just come together and say, let's just all stop and follow these rules and just be one.
I'm right there with you. Yes. Please stop. Like, just enjoy. It's funny because I hear a lot of people come, like, here. One of the biggest complaints was, "Oh, I work too much. Oh, I don't have any time. Oh, I don't ever get to be home. I spend more time at work than at home." And now that you're home, now what, right? Now what's your excuse? What's your complaint? So I've been encouraging people to just like enjoy the moment. Maybe it's not the most ideal situation, but if you've been given the opportunity to be home, just be home, and you're making a difference for the community. Let's do that. Let's do that. I love the memes that are going around of people like laying on the couch with potato chips. It's like I'm home doing I'm saving the world by literally staying home doing nothing. And I'm like,
Exactly. It's that easy.
yes. Yes. And the global impact. Let's talk about the global impact. Have you seen how the air is cleaner? I don't know if well, when I go food shopping, right? Because I go out once every 2 weeks to go food shopping. So we make sure that I supply for 2 weeks, and I go once every 2 weeks. But when I go out, it's a mixture of sadness, right? And excitement. I'm gonna explain. So the excitement comes from when I go outside for some reason. Maybe it's because I've been home. New York looks brighter. It could be raining outside, and for me, it just looks brighter. It looks cleaner. It looks calm, and I'm like, oh my god, I've never seen New York like this, and it's exciting. It's like this is beautiful. The sad part for me comes is that I'm very similar to you. I feed off of people's, and I don't want to say I feed off of people's energy, but I go on people's energy. I'm very like, I'm a hugger. I'm, in my work, they used to know me as the happy Monday, happy Tuesday. Every day was a happy day, and they're like, I always make sure to separate, right, and anything that's going on home to here, unless it's like super big. And I love talking to people. I talk to strangers all the time. My husband's always like, "You always talking to somebody." I'm like, it's a thing, right? But when I go out, we have to stay 6 feet apart. Now I have to wear this mask, which is so annoying for me. And I miss people. I literally miss people, talking to my customers, and seeing how their day is doing. So I look around when I'm waiting online, and I'm like, I talk to respecting everyone's individual beliefs. I believe in God, so I'm like, I talk to God like He's my friend. I'm like, we need to do something about this. Can we, like, because I don't like this. I don't like being away from people. Can we, like, change this? So I have these like conversations with God, and I don't. That's the word I don't want to live in. I embrace it for the moment because we are being precautious, and I hope that it does go away so that I can get back to talking to people and being, normal in that social sense. So
Yeah,
what happened?
yeah, I think all that, the, like, of course, surrounding sadness and fears, all kidding aside, I would totally agree, the nature and the outside life has been like thriving. My parents and I were just talking yesterday because we had the windows open and the birds were so loud. Yeah, and we were like, this is crazy. I've never heard them this loud. And especially here, we are not known for like having clean air, especially like around Asia here. So we've had like clear skies, the water, which is also not clear in Hong Kong because we're all near the shipping boats.
Yeah.
It's been clear, and that's like crazy. I was walking my dog the other day, and there was seaweed everywhere on the beach, and like that's just like, I mean, it just shows that it's gone like you tell everyone to stop for a few months and everything comes back to life. So I think if we can learn anything from this, that like stepping away from nature, just it can replenish itself so quickly. So like that's something that I think we all need to take into consideration after this whole thing is done with.
I love that. I mean, I think that's brilliant, first of all. Woo, yes. I Yeah, but I got excited when you said birds because my husband and I were talking. He put up the window from our room, and you could hear the. And I was like, oh, he was like, do you hear that? They're having a party out there, and I'm like, I know. I'm like, in New York, you've never heard that many birds at 5 o'clock in the morning ever. And they were literally having a party. It was like, and then you can hear it, and it's exciting to hear. It's like, wow. The same thing, the air is cleaner. I think that if globally we do take maybe a month to step back, it could be at different times. I don't care. Cities, the world will be different. I think nature has replenished itself super quickly, a lot quicker than we've ever even imagined. If we just step back, take a step back. I mean, and as far as consciously, I believe people are starting to what's the word I'm looking for? To awaken to the fact that we need to care more for our planet, care more for people, let go of so much complaint. It's always so much. There was always a complaining about something. So now that everything's been taken away and you have to be home, now you get to miss everything that you complained about. You miss the job that you complained about. You miss the fact that you had to get out of your comfort zone and go visit your family members. You're not so tired because now you're home. Now you get to spend time with your kids. All of this is it's the bright side of everything that's going on. Now, what message would you like to give to those teenagers that maybe are not living in a safe environment, or that maybe are having a harder time dealing with quarantine and online classes and not being around people? What would you like for them to know, or what, for all the way from Hong Kong, what message would you like to transmit to them?
Yeah, well, I think that if you're like kind of in an unsafe house or you're not really feeling comfortable, and you do have access to like online networking, it's a really good place to find such a community on there. And I know now, especially, there's more and more platforms to connect with people. So I think that is just so important to kind of keep somewhat of a social stuck in that kind of isolation. It's like you're gonna get sick of yourself. You have to like communicate and meet new people. And like for me, this is giving me that kind of interaction, meet new people, and discovering how other people are living their lives is so important. So sharing about your own stories is just as important about hearing about others. And I think with managing things like at home school or online school, for me the biggest thing is to force myself to create a routine and to not get lazy, because it's so hard when your bed is right next to you but you have
Yeah.
classes going on. It's I can wake up 1 minute before my class and take it while I'm still in bed. But I would recommend getting up, going on a walk with your family, making breakfast for your family. I found that something that's definitely been fun for me is baking and cooking. I've been like doing it nonstop. So definitely trying to create somewhat of a real life routine for yourself is so crucial and so important to kind of getting out of that funk of just feeling like you're kind of stuck and just don't really have any motivation anymore.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm planning to connect all of you, every person that I am interviewing like this, at a collective Zoom. I haven't picked a date yet, but I would love for all of you to like I want to see all of you and connect and talk about the same thing you talked about in the call with me, but with each other, and then snowball it. Like, I really want this to get big. So if you know any friends that would love to be part of this, please share and let them know. And even back in California or wherever, I take them from wherever because I want to hear all kinds of stories. I want to hear them all, and I'm sure that other teens out there will appreciate listening to their peers and what their experience has been. Thank you again. Is there anything else you would like to share, or
I don't know. I mean, it feels good to talk about it. Just like get it out, you're like kind of stuck in this, but
yes.
I don't know. I think just thinking about the positives in this situation is the best we can do, because so much of our news is surrounded by so much negative, and so it's hard to kind of find those little lights and those positive things that are going on. So definitely, like, if you are in a bad situation, just trying to pull out what you have. If you're with your family and you don't really get to spend a lot of time with your family, my sister's back from university, so I get to spend more time with her. And so small things like that, and just kind of enjoying what you do have, and what, if you're able to even live at home and survive like that, it's such a great, like, I'm so grateful that I can be able to do that during this situation. So just not taking anything for granted. I would just make sure to put that out. Yeah.
Beautiful. And so I know I probably should have asked this at the beginning of the call, but maybe it's better now because I don't have the background noise. So tell me, what is your typical day like? So what would be a typical day? It's probably the same every day, but what would be your typical day?
So for me, I have classes from 8:30 a.m. to 2:40. So it's like my same class day as I usually would have when I go to school. And for me, my school, I have 8 periods. And so we have 4 classes a day. And then those just switch off every day. So I have every other day is the same class. But for me, I get up. Unfortunately, I don't get up that much earlier, just because that's how I do it normally anyways. So that's mirroring what I do usually. But I usually get up about 30 minutes before my class and walk the dog and grab a cup of coffee and try to take my first class at my desk and not somewhere comfortable, because especially in the morning, that's the hardest thing for me. So I have 2 classes, and then lunch I get to eat with usually one of my parents and my sister, because my mom's still out working. And then and my dad's working from home, so it's very nice that I have all my family here. And then I have my 2 more classes, and I finish school at 2:40 and try to do some sort of exercise. I definitely have been slacking a bit, but I will try and get back on that. But then I just come back and I do work, because especially now I have my exams coming up and those are still going on. So studying for my exams is definitely been the night routine. But I usually try and get to bed before 12:30. But yeah, just trying to keep somewhat of a sleep schedule.
I know that one for me at the beginning was really hard, keeping a sleeping schedule. Oh my goodness. I mean, I think I went through all of them at the beginning. I slept a lot because I do work a lot. So now I'm working from home. So it's it's easier because no, it's harder in the sense that yes, I do want to be in my pajamas all day and probably, and I have to push myself out of my comfort zone a lot more. It's easier because I don't have the routine of getting up, going to work, and like being out of my house all the time. So for me, the first 2 weeks, honestly, were heaven. Like, I was sleeping all the time. So because I could do my work whenever. My only real routine was every Monday I have my youth groups, and we started our Zoom call. But we didn't start our Zoom call till like the third week because I was still figuring out how we were gonna do it. So I was like literally doing nothing for 2 weeks. So I was like, yeah. Then I went to, then it was, I was up all night and then I slept half the day. And then I was like, okay, we cannot do this. You know, my husband also has to work from home. So we're all home. We're all home. We all working from home. And then so I was working like during the night, doing whatever I had to do, and then I was sleeping like half the day, and I was like, oh no, this is not working, because I felt groggy. It was like, yeah, I'm sleeping the same amount of hours, or the required amount of hours, but I still feel like I haven't slept. And then
Yeah.
we stood up. So in order to change it, we had to stay up a full almost 20 hours. So we stood up, right? We were up all night because we couldn't sleep. So instead of going back to sleep at 5:30 or whatever in the morning, we ended up staying all the way through to about that day. We stayed up till about 6:30, and it's been consistent now for about 3 weeks. We get up like 5:36, and naturally, like I don't have an alarm. Like we actually bloop, and then by 10 or 11, we're like, so it's
Oh, I
perfect.
congratulate you. That's
It was perfect. I was like,
impressive.
yay, I got a routine. But it took us a while to get there. Trust me, it was not easy pace. And I'm excited about this new project. So now I got a
Yes.
new excitement. Now I got something new to do and connect with you guys. And I know that in my heart that we will impact other teenagers. Tell me, how's your experience with social media? Yeah, I want to know, because I've been seeing like a mix of everything. Yeah, positive I've seen, negatives I've seen. Like, what do you experience social media and the media as a whole, and how they've been addressing this whole issue?
Yeah, so I mean, with the media side, I remember like at the beginning of the whole Hong Kong situation, they would disclose a lot in a way, or like when they would talk about cases, they wouldn't mention if they had any other like previous. It changed the way that people viewed the virus, and I think that kind of lowered morale as well. And so there wasn't a lot of like happy news for a while until only recently. And on social media, I think there was a lot before, like, hello, hi.
All right, sorry, my internet went a little wacko. Okay, I'm back. We okay, so you were telling me about how the media was they weren't saying pre-existing condition.
There we go.
Okay, perfect.
Where did you last hear? Just so I gotta know.
Yeah, where the media was not sharing pre-existing conditions.
Yeah, so I think that kind of, as I was saying, it kind of lowered morale and kind of didn't create a very positive outlook on the situation. And that's changed recently because we have been going in a positive direction. But I think social media, because a lot of my social media at least is influenced from the US. That's just how I get my feed, because it's just the social media that I use is mostly directed towards the US. And I think a lot of the stuff I've been hearing from there is that people complaining about their prom getting canceled, people complaining about like these kind of smaller things. And it's like we were talking about the complaining before, and I think there's been a lack of sensitivity, especially coming from teenagers. And I, as a teenager, would kind of help to like decrease that, because I mean, for me, of course, I was like, I miss my friends, I miss my school, but like as it got more serious and more intense, it's like I would much rather sacrifice my prom than have people in great danger. So it's like it's kind of, you have to put it into perspective. And also I heard a lot from celebrities complaining about being in quarantine when they're living in mansions, and some people are struggling a lot in this time because they can't even go to work. And like if they're living paycheck to paycheck, I mean, it's really hard during this situation. And as a celebrity saying those kind of things, I don't know, personally I just got a little irritated by that. I know it's stopped a bit now, but at the time of that, yeah.
My husband and I would joke about it, right? Oh yeah, shit. I would like to be in quarantine like that, right? He's like in his, in his pool by the living room, talk about stay home, and we're like, really? That gets people a little bit on edge because it reminds you, it puts people in a stage where they have to look at what they don't have instead of looking at what they do have and being grateful where they are. And that's where the lack of sensitivity has been. I definitely agree with you where there has been a lack of sensitivity, not only with teenagers, but I think there's a community as a whole that has been. I was watching a lot of initial, it stopped a lot now because, and I hate to say that it had to get to this, but I was watching a lot of memes on the coronavirus and all these like jokes about it and jokes about staying home and quarantine until it affected you or your family, right? It stopped now because, well, at least in New York, it's been such a widespread that if it didn't happen to you or your family directly, and I want to say thank God that I haven't lost anybody, but if you talk to anybody, they either have somebody or know somebody that had it or know somebody that knows somebody. That it's an interconnected, that everyone that you speak to has some extension of someone that has affected. So now it's not a joke anymore. Now it's not a joke. Now it's serious. How can we do more for others? And in a emotional level, mentally, and spiritually.
Yeah. I was just reading something, and it was talking about the idea of wearing a mask. And I think this is actually a good way to represent this because in Asian culture, in Chinese culture, you're not wearing, a lot of people at the beginning of this were like, well, masks don't help. Like it will go through whatever, masks don't do anything, but it's more about the respect. And that's at least what I know from Asian culture. It's about, you don't know if you're sick or not, even if you don't have any symptoms. A lot of these cases have been no symptoms. So it's the difference between being worrying about yourself than more worrying about the human beings as a whole. I mean, it's like when I pass by someone on the street, it's like you put on a mask not because you think they're going to cough on you, but you don't want to like give them something that you don't know you have. So I think that's something that we need to consider too, is like, it shouldn't be about that I need to go out to get my hair cut. Like, it should be about, no, you're putting a bunch of other people on risk who are following the rules and who are just going out once or twice a week to get groceries. But then all of a sudden, someone who's not really going by that and not wearing a mask, that could cause that kind of issue. So being selfless is definitely something we should take out of it too.
Selfless. Ooh, I like that word. Yes, being selfless. And that little word can impact a whole lot. It impacts the planet. It impacts humans as a whole. It impacts animals. It impacts everyone because you're putting the benefit, and not to say, oh my God, you have to be a martyr and not take care of yourself. But I think taking care of yourself in a responsible way takes care of other people as well.
Yeah.
Oh, this has been so much fun. Okay. This has been so much fun. Margi, thank you so much for being a part of this. I'm excited to start releasing this. My goal is to start, I asked you for the pictures. I'm going to start doing the promotion. I'm going to share with you. We just created a new Instagram called Teenage Minds 20. So it's brand new. So we need followers. So I'm going to share with you too. And we're just going to start releasing at least the pictures, and then I'm gonna edit the video, and then we're gonna release IGTV both on YouTube and Instagram and Facebook. If you have any other social media you wanna share it with, let's do it. And I'm excited to be able to Great. And you're number one. Can you believe that? You're my first
Awesome.
interview. So that is exciting. So
I'm really excited to see what comes out of it.
yes, my heart is full. I'm a little bit nervous because it's new, right? Even for me. So
Of
I don't,
course, yeah.
I'm really hoping. I mean, I know in my heart at some point it will make an impact, but but there's always that little voice that's like, is it really gonna make an impact? Like,
Yes.
so I'm gonna stay with the yes, it is, right? I have this like internal battles with it. I'm like, yes, it is. It's gonna make an impact. So I want to see where this takes us, and I am forever grateful and very, very humbled by your openness, your ability to connect, the way you said yes so easily, and coming on and sharing yourself, your experience with the world, because it's gonna go worldwide, hopefully. Yes. Is there one last message you want to share before we end the call?
Just appreciate what you have and love the situation that you're in while you can.
Yes. Well, for you, stay safe. Thank you for being an amazing leader. We are now forever connected. So if you ever need anything, please contact me, and, you know, continue to go within. If you can take at least 10 minutes of your day and just take some deep breath to connect with you and who you are, give yourself that opportunity to meditate, because even the slightest moment of quiet with yourself expands your soul big time. So we get to protect ourselves not only physically, mentally, but our soul and inner spirit gets to be nourished. So with you, take at least 10 minutes and just some peace and quiet time with yourself, even if it's in the bathroom, and allow yourself to just be in the moment. And you'll see
Thank
it'll
you
make a
so
world of a
much.
difference. So, much love from New York City.
Yeah.
Have a great rest of your day, and I'll keep you posted on when we're going to start putting all these up. Okay?
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome, and thank you. I'm completely humbled by you.
Of course. Have a good day.
Have a great day.